What began as a serene dining experience for Jason Statham swiftly transformed into an electrifying confrontation that demands your attention. Picture the action hero, gaze intense, leisurely sipping lemonade as Vince Russo, a ruthless gangster, spirals into chaos. The waiter, quivering with anxiety, inadvertently lets a plate of food slip from his grasp, cascading onto Vince's lap and drenching his attire. Furious, Vince seizes the waiter and slams his face into the table, blood gushing violently. The diner grows charged, a battleground taking shape. Jason stands tall, his fists clenched, confronting a thug consumed by rage. This is the unfiltered embodiment of Statham's justice in motion. What transpires when fury encounters a steadfast champion? Remain engaged to discover more. Before we embark on this journey, share with us your location as you tune in today, and don't forget to like and subscribe to demonstrate your unwavering support for Jason Statham. The diner hummed with life at 10 p.m., a rough-edged refuge nestled on a city corner, its flickering neon signs spilling a soft, muted light onto the pavement. Within the space, the atmosphere was infused with the subtle aroma of grilled sandwiches and crisp salads, intertwined with the zesty bite of spilled ketchup. Worn booths, their red vinyl cracked and peeling, lined the walls, each occupied by late-night patrons bent over their plates. The soft murmur of conversation intertwined with the delicate clatter of cutlery and the sporadic sound of a chair being pushed back. Above, the fluorescent lights flickered, creating a play of uneven shadows that waltzed across the checkered floor. A jukebox lingered in the corner, muted and untouched, its glass marred, as if it understood that the night craved an atmosphere thick with tension rather than melodies. Jason Statham perched at the counter, his aura taut and electric. The action star, renowned for his unwavering determination, clutched a glass of lemonade with such intensity that his knuckles turned pale. His eyes, keen and unwavering, surveyed the room with the intensity of a hunter on the prowl. His jaw tightened, a slight twitch revealing his heightened awareness as the commotion in the diner escalated. Clad in a simple black shirt with sleeves casually rolled up, he embodied the essence of a man capable of transforming a serene moment into a fierce confrontation. His posture, both rigid and controlled, exuded an air of readiness, as though he could feel the storm gathering just beyond the counter. Across the diner, Vince Russo commanded attention, a formidable gangster whose voice sliced through the ambient noise with precision. He towered above the booth, his imposing figure dressed in a flamboyant suit, now marred by the grease of a recently spilled meal. His face, marked by time and hardship, contorted into a fierce grimace as he shouted at the staff, his voice laced with malice. "Is this what you call service?" he bellowed, his fist crashing onto the table, causing the plates to tremble. Beside him stood his three henchmen, imposing silhouettes with knives gleaming at their sides, their smirks reflecting his bravado. Vince's booming threats sent a shiver of dread through the staff, their hands quaking as they hurried to refill drinks. His presence stood in sharp relief to Jason's quiet intensity, akin to a wildfire clashing with a serene mountain. Nearby on the counter rested a cracked diner mug, its jagged edge reflecting the flickering light. The mug, worn from years of rough use, appeared incongruous among the polished glasses, its flaw a muted harbinger of the turmoil that lay ahead. It lingered mere inches from Jason's hand, as if challenging him to make a move, its coarse texture reflecting the tautness in the atmosphere. The mug's existence felt burdensome, a testament to the diner's vulnerability, poised to break beneath the strain of the evening's turmoil. With each fleeting moment, the diner's ambience thickened, suffocating in its intensity. Customers shot anxious looks at Vince, their forks suspended in midair. A young couple nestled in a corner booth murmured to each other, their gazes flitting between Vince's enforcers and the door. An older gentleman, his hands trembling, clutched his plate more firmly, as if it could offer him protection. The waitstaff glided through the room, their movements swift and careful, steering clear of Vince's eyes. The flickering lights appeared to throb in rhythm with the escalating heartbeats around them. A subtle creak from the ceiling fan contributed to the tension, its languid rotation stirring the air as if marking the passage of time. Jason's eyes remained fixed on Vince, narrowing as the gangster's voice escalated. He placed his lemonade down, the glass producing a soft clink against the counter, a sound consumed by Vince's outburst. His fingers grazed the edge of the cracked mug, a momentary contact that appeared to anchor him. The diner, despite its inviting warmth, resembled a powder keg, its charming exterior giving way to Vince's simmering aggression. The soft murmurs of patrons dwindled, giving way to a palpable silence, as if everyone sensed the impending eruption. The atmosphere thickened, electrified with the anticipation of conflict, and Jason's calm demeanor stood as the sole bastion against the brewing chaos. Vince, unaware of Jason's watchful eyes, unleashed his fury upon a young waiter, the very one who would soon ignite his anger. The waiter, scarcely 20, stumbled with a tray of food, his hands trembling beneath Vince's piercing gaze. "Move faster, kid," Vince barked, his voice slicing through the air like a whip, causing the waiter to recoil. The tray wobbled precariously, a plate of sandwiches on the brink of calamity. The diner collectively inhaled, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation, as if the very air were constricted by the trembling lights above. Jason's jaw clenched tighter, his hand creeping toward the mug, his form coiled like a predator ready to spring. The atmosphere was charged, the characters poised, and the fractured mug lingered as a mute observer to the impending chaos. The tension in the diner, already palpable, fractured like a stretched cord. The young waiter, still shaken by Vince Russo's piercing stare, stumbled with his tray. A plate of sandwiches careened off the table, landing with a messy splatter of grease and lettuce on Vince's lap. His expression contorted into one of pure rage, his eyes igniting with fury. "You idiot!" he bellowed, springing from his booth. He grasped the waiter by the collar, his powerful hands like iron clamps, and forcefully drove the waiter's face into the table. The sharp sound of bone meeting would reverberated, blood pouring from the waiter's nose, splattering the table crimson. Patrons gasped, their forks suspended in disbelief. The flickering lights stuttered, as though the diner itself flinched from the violence. Jason Statham, taut and ready at the counter, sprang to his feet. His glass of lemonade struck the surface with a crisp clink, his gaze ignited with a simmering fury. "Stop! Now!" he commanded, his voice low yet cutting through the turmoil like a knife. Each word bore the gravity of a man who understood the power behind them. His black shirt stretched across his shoulders as he advanced, every muscle coiled, his presence overwhelming the confined space of the diner. The cracked mug, its jagged edge catching the light, remained untouched yet laden with significance, as if it murmured of the turmoil simmering beneath the surface. Vince Russo, his suit now marred by food stains, pivoted to confront Jason. A sneer twisted his scarred lips, his arrogance unwavering despite the blood gathering on the table. "Who do you think you are, tough guy?" he mocked, shoving Jason's chest with both hands. The push was forceful, intended to intimidate, yet Jason remained steadfast, his boots firmly planted on the checkered floor. Vince leaned closer, his breath seething with fury. "This is my domain. I possess this space, and I act as I please." His voice oozed authority, asserting his control over the diner like a sovereign presiding over a fading realm. His three thugs loomed like dark sentinels behind him, laughter rumbling from their throats, hands poised on the knives at their belts, prepared to uphold his dominion. Jason's gaze sharpened, his jaw clenched so tightly that a muscle twitched beneath the surface. "You do not touch him again," he declared, his voice now cut through the air, each word a warning etched in steel. The intensity of his tone transformed the diner's atmosphere, silencing the nervous whispers into a profound stillness. Customers recoiled, acutely aware of the impending storm. The waiter leaned heavily against the table, his hand pressed to his bleeding face, the soft whimpers escaping his lips the sole sound in the tense atmosphere. Jason's eyes darted to the cracked mug for just an instant, his fingers grazing its jagged surface, as if seeking solace in its unspoken vow of turmoil. The mug, bearing the scars of time, appeared to thrum with the tension of impending clashes, a testament to battles yet to unfold. Vince's smirk grew broader, yet his henchmen faltered, their blades poised but not fully unsheathed, doubt dancing in their gazes. They were well aware of Jason Statham's visage, his standing as an action icon capable of genuine combat. Their hesitation was a chink in Vince's armor, a hint that the gangster's hold was not unyielding. Sensing the change, Vince advanced, his chest swelling with bravado. "You wish to don the mantle of a hero," he mocked, his voice a deep rumble. "Stepping into my world will be a decision you come to regret." His words hung in the air, a challenge, a dare to breach the boundary he had marked in blood. The atmosphere of the diner thickened, the flickering lights casting elongated shadows that reached out toward Jason, compelling him to make a move. Jason held his ground, his stance resolute, his gaze fixed on Vince. His hand hovered near the chipped mug, not clutching it but allowing its presence to steady him. The tension in the diner was palpable, enveloping every booth, every quaking patron. The young couple in the corner clung to one another, their eyes alight with a mix of fear and anticipation. The older man, his plate neglected, fixed his gaze on Jason, as though he were the last beacon of hope in a storm. The waitstaff stood still, their trays left behind, paralyzed by the tension in the air. The ceiling fan groaned with a heavy creak, its languid rotation marking time like a ticking clock. Vince, having exhausted his patience, lifted his fist, revealing knuckles marred by previous battles. The movement was measured, intentional, a harbinger of impending brutality. The diner's lights appeared to fade, their flickering glow sinking in tandem with the escalating tension that enveloped the room. Patrons held their breath, the silence so profound it felt as though it were pressing against the very walls. Jason's gaze remained fixed on Vince, his body taut, prepared to confront the impending challenge. The fractured mug rested between them, its sharp rim reflecting the tension that had escalated. The diner, once a haven for uncomplicated fare, had transformed into a battleground for a confrontation that would alter the course of the evening. What would Jason's next move be? The question lingered, drawing every observer further into the unfolding drama. The atmosphere in the diner was electric, Vince Russo's fist poised in the air like a tempest waiting to unleash its fury. Jason Statham remained steadfast, his gaze unwavering as it met the gangster's, while a chipped mug sat quietly on the counter, a mute witness to the tension. The lights above flickered ominously, casting sharp shadows that danced across the room, and an oppressive silence enveloped the patrons, their breaths quickening, eyes filled with apprehension. The young waiter, blood still trickling from his nose, leaned heavily against the table, his whimpers muffled by the palpable tension in the air. Vince's sneer wavered for a fleeting moment, his scarred knuckles quaking, as if he could feel the oppressive weight of Jason's presence. The creaking of the ceiling fan intensified, each rotation a heartbeat closer to impending chaos. The diner, once a sanctuary for sandwiches and lemonade, had transformed into a pressure cooker, its weathered booths and checkered floor standing as silent witnesses to a confrontation that would shape the evening. Jason adjusted his posture, his black shirt stretched across his shoulders, and lifted his fists, exposing scarred knuckles that glimmered in the muted light. White lines crisscrossed his hands, deeply etched from years of genuine battles, each scar narrating a tale of victories earned. The scars were vivid, resembling a map of his resilience, and they hushed the room even more, the clatter of plates fading into silence. "These have halted men like you before," Jason stated, his voice unwavering, nodding at Vince. The words were not a boast but a truth, conveyed with the composure of someone well aware of his own power. His nod connected the scars to the drama at hand, a caution that Vince was neither the first bully to challenge him, nor would he be the last. Vince's response was swift, a strained laugh erupting from his throat, echoing hollowly. "You think those scare me, movie star?" he sneered, yet his eyes revealed his fear, flickering to Jason's knuckles and then back to his face. The laughter served as a facade, beginning to fracture beneath the intensity of Jason's unwavering gaze. Vince's ostentatious suit, marred by remnants of greasy sandwiches, appeared to droop as his bravado faltered. The thugs flanking him shifted restlessly, their blades catching the light, yet their grips betrayed a hint of uncertainty. The earlier hesitation intensified, their allegiance to Vince wavering as they beheld Jason's battle-scarred hands. Yet Vince, frantic to regain authority, snapped his fingers and directed a sharp gesture at Jason. "Get him!" he growled, his voice trembling with urgency. The order served as a catalyst, setting the conflict into motion. The atmosphere transformed, nuanced yet charged. Patrons murmured, their tones a soft blend of trepidation and wonder, as if the diner itself prepared for the impending storm. Plates rattled in the grasp of a quaking waitress, the noise cutting through the stillness. The flickering lights throbbed with urgency, stretching the thugs' silhouettes into ominous forms that loomed over the checkered floor. In the corner booth, the young couple huddled closer, their fingers intertwined in a desperate grip. The older man, his gaze fixed on Jason, clutched his chair, as though it were a lifeline to hope. The ceiling fan whirled with increasing speed, its creaking forming a backdrop to the rising turmoil. The cracked mug, left untouched yet always there, appeared to glimmer, its jagged edge reflecting the violence that was unfolding. The trio of thugs surged forward, their heavy boots echoing against the ground, knives glinting ominously in the low light. The foremost, a stocky figure with a bald head, lunged at Jason, his blade poised to strike at the chest. In a fluid motion, Jason evaded, moving like a whisper, and landed a powerful punch squarely on the thug's jaw. The sharp sound of fist meeting bone reverberated through the air, and the thug collapsed, his knife clattering away. The second thug, wiry yet equally brutal, launched a reckless punch, his knuckles barely brushing Jason's shoulder. In a swift motion, Jason seized the thug's arm, wrenched it back, and drove an elbow into his gut. The thug gasped, doubling over, as Jason delivered a precise hook to the temple, sending him crashing to the ground. The third thug, towering and uncertain, hesitated with his gun half-raised, but Jason was quicker. In an instant, he closed the gap, wrenched the weapon from the thug's grasp, and drove a knee into his gut, bringing him down in a crumpled heap. The confrontation concluded in mere moments, Jason's actions sharp and deliberate, his battle-worn knuckles a whirlwind of focused rage. The diner filled with startled breaths, patrons recoiling as the assailants lay scattered, moaning. The flickering lights appeared to pause, as though recognizing Jason's supremacy. The waiter, his face marred by crimson stains, fixed his gaze on Jason, eyes wide with an unsettling blend of fear and gratitude. The young couple murmured urgently, their voices drowned in the surrounding chaos. The older man offered a slight nod, a fragile smile emerging amidst his palpable tension. The waitstaff, once frozen in time, now lingered near the counter, their trays abandoned. The cracked mug remained untouched, a silent sentinel amid the turmoil, its jagged edge glinting in the light as if to declare that the struggle was far from concluded. Vince, now isolated, felt a surge of desperation. His forced laugh vanished, giving way to a snarl as he drew a knife from his pocket, its blade glinting with purpose. His hand trembled, the grease-stained suit clinging to his dampened frame. "You think you are tough?" he growled, his voice low, nearly desperate. His eyes darted to his fallen thugs, then returned to Jason, fear now evident in his gaze. The atmosphere of the diner grew heavy, the murmurs dwindling to silence. The flickering lights reduced Vince's shadow to a mere wisp, his authority broken. The ceiling fan's creak diminished, as though it were pausing in anticipation. Jason remained composed, his scarred knuckles poised, his gaze fixed unwaveringly on Vince. The chipped mug, mere inches from his grasp, appeared to throb, its jagged rim a harbinger of the impending confrontation. The atmosphere crackled with intensity, the diner transformed into a battleground of dread and expectation. Patrons leaned in, their gazes flitting between Jason and Vince. The young couple gripped their booth tightly, their faces drained of color. The older man's hands shook, yet his belief in Jason remained steadfast. The waitstaff, gathered near the counter, observed in quietude, their trepidation softened by Jason's aura. The flickering lights dimmed even more, enveloping the diner in a muted glow. The checkered floor transformed into a stage for the looming confrontation. The fractured mug, its surface marred and weary, served as a quiet observer, reflecting the jagged tension of the scene. Vince's knife shimmered ominously, his urgency palpable like a countdown. Jason's battered knuckles, marked by the burdens of previous battles, were poised for action. The diner lingered in anticipation, its heart racing for the moment that would set the evening ablaze. The atmosphere thickened with tension, a heavy weight pressing against the flickering bulbs above. Vince Russo, his knife shining with a fierce determination, stood solitary, his grease-stained suit clinging to his quaking form, his eyes, brimming with a tumultuous blend of fear and fury, fixed on Jason Statham, who exuded an unsettling calm, his scarred knuckles poised, a wordless vow of vengeance. The fractured mug, its jagged rim glinting in the muted light, rested perilously close to Jason's grasp, a battered artifact reflecting the delicate state of Vince's disintegrating authority. The young waiter, blood trickling from his nose, slumped against the table, his labored breath scarcely breaking the tense silence. Patrons, immobilized in their seats, gazed with astonished expressions, hands clutching plates or one another. The youthful pair in the corner booth clung to their seats, faces drained of color, while the older gentleman's quaking fingers gripped his chair, his eyes locked onto Jason. The waitstaff, clustered near the counter, remained frozen, their trays abandoned. The ceiling fan's creak diminished to a mere whisper, as though the diner itself paused in anticipation. The checkered floor, marked and weathered, transformed into a stage, with each flicker of the lights resonating like the heartbeat of an impending confrontation. Vince surged forward, his knife slicing through the air, targeting Jason's chest with deadly precision. The maneuver was frantic, driven by a sense of urgency, his perspiration-drenched visage contorted in a grimace. Jason surged forward with the speed of a striking serpent, his form a whirlwind of accuracy. He contorted Vince's wrist with a swift, honed gesture, the sound of snapping tendons piercing the stillness of the diner. The knife fell with a sharp clatter, its blade gliding across the checkered tiles, glinting in the light as it twirled. Vince's snarl shifted to a gasp, his arm now powerless in Jason's unyielding grasp. In one fluid motion, Jason yanked Vince forward, sending him off balance, and drove his face into the table with a resounding thud. The impact reverberated, a harsh melody that hushed even the softest murmurs. Blood seeped from Vince's forehead, a delicate stream gathering beside the shattered mug, its jagged rim now perilously close to his fallen figure. The mug, worn and resolute, served as a testament to Vince's shattered authority, its coarse texture mirroring the ruins of his reign. Vince crumpled to the ground, his form sagging against the floor, the grease-stained suit now marred by his own blood. His eyes, which had once burned with arrogance, now gazed vacantly, clouded by the weight of defeat. Shallow breaths escaped him, the only remnants of the once mighty gangster. The silence enveloped the diner like a thick fog, pierced only by the soft, unsettling sound of blood dripping onto the table. Jason loomed above him, his knuckles marked by past battles yet untouched by the current chaos, his black shirt remarkably unrumpled from the swift confrontation. His expression was a mask of stoicism, the tension in his jaw dissipated, giving way to a serene aura of dominance. The cracked mug, left undisturbed amidst the turmoil, shimmered beneath the erratic glow of the lights, standing as a silent witness to the turmoil that had erupted. Its jagged rim, fierce and resolute, appeared to taunt Vince's descent, a remnant of the diner's metamorphosis from a warm refuge to a site of conflict. The diner lay in silence, a still image captured in disbelief and astonishment. Customers gazed in disbelief, their mouths hanging open, utensils and dishes abandoned in their grasp. In the corner booth, a young couple, pallid and shaken, clung tightly to one another, their eyes flitting between Vince's fallen figure and Jason's composed presence. The older man, his hands now steady, sat tall, a subtle nod of acknowledgement emerging from his lined face. The waitstaff, gathered near the counter, breathed out together, their shoulders drooping as anxiety transformed into relief. The young waiter, his face marred by blood and streaked with tears, gazed at Jason with a blend of gratitude and disbelief, his hands gripping the table for stability. The flickering lights steadied, their glow softening, as if the diner itself had released a sigh, liberated from the clutches of Vince's menace. The ceiling fan began its languid rotation once more, the creaking transformed into a soothing hum, heralding the storm's conclusion. Jason retreated slightly, his boots whispering against the checkered floor, his battered knuckles relaxing yet remaining poised. He surveyed the diner, his keen gaze absorbing every nuance: the overturned glass of lemonade, the strewn knives, the crimson pool gathering by the fractured mug. His presence, steadfast and authoritative, enveloped the room in a hushed awe. The fractured mug, its sharp edge now stained with Vince's blood, served as a mute observer, its battered shape reflecting the tumult of the evening. The atmosphere of the diner, previously heavy with dread, now bore a different burden, one of respect. The customers, frozen in place, appeared to lean toward Jason, their eyes shimmering with the wonder of observing a legend at work. The young couple murmured, their words barely audible, while the older man's nod became more resolute, his belief in Jason reaffirmed. The atmosphere was palpable, every nuance captured in the diner's time-worn walls. The checkered floor, marred by the thug's tumble, displayed faint traces of blood, a testament to the swift yet savage clash. The booths, their red vinyl worn and frayed, appeared to droop beneath the burden of the events they had observed. The flickering lights, now steady, illuminated the chipped mug, its jagged rim a sharp juxtaposition to the tranquility that enveloped the space. Vince's knife lay forsaken on the floor, catching the light with a subtle gleam, a testament to his lost dominion. The young waiter, quaking with fear, dabbed at the blood on his face, his gaze fixed on Jason, drawing courage from the presence of the action star. The waitstaff, now treading carefully, commenced the task of collecting trays, their motions deliberate, as though wary of shattering the charged atmosphere. Jason's eyes were fixed on Vince, whose composure remained unshaken, his scarred knuckles a silent testament to his prowess. The cracked mug, ever present amidst the turmoil, resonated with significance, its chipped surface embodying the diner's enduring spirit. The patrons, captivated, held their breath, their admiration tangible in the air. The young couple's hands intertwined, their eyes sparkling with awe. The older man, his plate still full, leaned in closer, eager to capture every nuance. The waitstaff, their initial trepidation dissipating, shared knowing looks, their relief mingled with the gravity of the moment they had witnessed. The diner, once merely a venue for modest fare, had evolved into a platform for justice, its stillness punctuated by flickering lights that radiated tranquility. Time elongated, each nuance clear and striking. The fractured mug, its rough edge glinting in the glow, appeared to ground the tableau, a worn artifact marking the pivotal moment of the evening. Vince's blood, gathering beside him, signified the conclusion of his dominion. Jason, his black shirt almost untouched, stood as the sentinel of the diner, his battered knuckles a quiet vow of defense. The patrons, expressions a blend of disbelief and respect, remained frozen, their gazes locked on the cinematic hero. The young waiter, his face marked by the remnants of chaos yet now serene, took a tentative step forward, his unvoiced gratitude palpable. The waitstaff, their trays balanced with newfound steadiness, navigated with intention, as if re-establishing their dominion. The diner, with its checkered floor and time-worn booths now imbued with significance, held its breath, the silence serving as a backdrop for the contemplation that lay ahead. The diner was silent, the atmosphere thick with the aftermath of recent events. Jason Statham, his battle-worn hands now at ease, took in the surroundings, his black shirt remaining immaculate amid the disorder. Vince Russo was sprawled on the checkered floor, a stream of blood seeping from his brow. His grease-stained suit bore witness to his fallen reign. The cracked mug, its jagged edge encircled by the blood pooling beside it, shimmered under the now steady lights, a battered artifact of the night's pivotal moment. The young waiter, his bloodied face now serene, sat in a booth, a waitress gently tending to his wounds with a damp cloth. Customers, their amazement evident, stood frozen, eyes locked on Jason, utensils and dishes abandoned. In the corner booth, a young couple, hands intertwined, whispered tenderly, their expressions glowing with enchantment. The older gentleman, his lined face softened with admiration, offered Jason a resolute nod, his belief in the action star unwavering. The wait staff, their trays poised with precision, glided through the room with a serene determination, restoring order to their domain. The ceiling fan's soothing where had supplanted its previous groan, transforming the diner from a site of conflict into a refuge born of righteousness. Jason inhaled deeply, his keen gaze softening as he turned to the waiter, now enveloped in safety, his earlier tremors calmed by the nurturing atmosphere surrounding him. "I fight because someone has to stand up," Jason said, his voice low yet powerful, imbued with the gravity of a truth shaped by experience. The words lingered in the atmosphere, echoing not only the essence of the night, but also a conviction that shaped his identity. He shifted slightly, as if speaking to an unseen crowd beyond the diner's confines. "This is not merely a single night. It embodies the essence of righteousness." His voice remained unwavering, a summons to the audience, compelling them to perceive the struggle as something greater than a mere altercation, but rather a defiance against injustice. The patrons, their whispers transforming into a gentle wave of admiration, leaned in closer, as though his words resonated with their own unvoiced aspirations. The young couple exchanged knowing nods, their eyes alight with anticipation, while the older man's nod grew more profound, his hands finally steady. Jason's gaze lingered on the cracked mug, its chipped surface resolute. The jagged edge, illuminated by the soft glow of the diner's lights, appeared to carry a weighty significance, a quiet testament to the price of the evening's events. Jason's fingers grazed its coarse exterior as he approached the door, a momentary contact imbued with the gravity of past events. The mug, a steadfast presence amid the turmoil, served as a testament to endurance, its fissures reflecting the hidden wounds of those who rise to confront challenges. "Some fights leave scars nobody sees," Jason murmured, his tone subdued, suggesting a deeper resonance, an unaddressed reality that reverberated beyond the confines of the diner. The words hung in the air, a subtle acknowledgement of the unseen cost of bravery, the imprints etched on souls and thoughts long after the crimson had faded. The diner, now transformed, thrummed with a serene energy. The checkered floor, marred and stained with blood, now told the tale of justice served. The tattered booths, their crimson vinyl frayed, appeared to bear the burden of the evening with a certain dignity. The steady glow of the lights enveloped the customers, their expressions a blend of relief and reverence. The young waiter, his wounds tended to, offered a tentative smile, his unvoiced gratitude for Jason evident in the depths of his gaze. The wait staff moved with assured grace, clearing plates meticulously, their initial trepidation transformed into a serene resilience. The young couple, now seated with poise, exchanged whispers, their voices laced with admiration. The elderly gentleman, his plate still pristine, reclined slightly, his gaze following Jason's exit with a deliberate intensity, as though etching the scene into his mind for eternity. Jason lingered at the threshold, his fingers resting on the handle, the chipped mug lingering in view on the counter behind him. The atmosphere of the diner, previously heavy with trepidation, now radiated a victorious warmth, a testament to the strength found in resilience. He cast a fleeting look over his shoulder, his keen gaze locking onto the waiters, a wordless promise that victory belonged to them this night. The customers, their whispers now a symphony of admiration, observed him, their reverence palpable in the air. The ceiling fan whirled softly, its gentle hum providing a calming backdrop to the revival of the diner. The fractured mug, with its sharp rim standing as a silent guardian, appeared to acknowledge Jason's departure, its meaning woven into the fabric of the evening's narrative. We invite you to share your thoughts with us. What significance does this battle hold for Jason Statham? Was it merely a diner brawl, or could it be something more profound, a stand for justice? We invite you to share your reflections in the comments below. How did this moment resonate with you? Give this video a thumbs up if Jason's determination inspired you, and share it to help spread the tale of one night that transformed everything. Your voice holds significance, so let us sustain this flame. Jason crossed the threshold, the fading glow of the neon signs retreating into the shadows, his silhouette dissolving into the night. A single confrontation has the power to alter the course of everything.